and we are joined now by former model Heidi Thomas. She was one of those accusers, one of 6 women who testified against Cosby during his 2018 trial. She claims he drugged and raped her in 1984, and Cosby has denied those accusations. But Heidi, thank you for being with us this morning to talk about this. I mean, what was that moment like for you? None of us were expecting it that day, not even Cosby himself, who reportedly was sleeping when a guard came in and said, "You can go." What was that moment like for you when you heard he was a free man?
You correctly reported. Thank you for having me on. You reported I said it was a gut punch, and that's how I felt. I felt like someone had socked me in the gut, and suddenly I couldn't breathe. It was less than 3 weeks ago, I think, that those of us who are accounted the Victims Assistance Program had let us know that he was refused parole. And now all of a sudden, out of the blue, just kidding, you're free. That's what the air just came kind of out of my lungs, gut punch.
Heidi, how did you learn that he was a free man?
A friend of mine here in Denver is a member of my church and happens to be in the media. And she texted me and asked how I was doing. That same day happened to be my dad's 94th birthday, and we were moving a hospital bed into his house. I thought she was talking about that. And I said, well, you know, we're getting there. And I started talking about my dad, and she texted back and said, "Oh, sweetheart, you haven't seen the story, have you?" So I learned about it from my friend on text.
Wow. I'm not sure if you were able to, or could have brought yourself to watch some of the images of Bill Cosby after he left the prison, putting up the peace sign. You saw a member in his party there celebrating at one point. But if you have seen it and knowing what he's done in those hours after he was free, what goes through your mind?
It's ironic, because when all 60 plus of us came forward, the overwhelming screams of how we all wanted our 15 minutes of fame, and this, I'm going to hear it again just for appearing here today. He's all about the spotlight, and we're giving it to him. We're feeding right into it. Everything is about his name being back out there. So I'm disgusted. I understand it's news. I understand he's an icon, but we're giving him everything he wants, just more attention.
I mean, there are reports that he was already working the phones with comedy club owners, maybe paving the way here for a comeback. But, you know, Heidi, this was really one of the really focal points here in the Me Too movement. And now that you see that this conviction has been overturned on a technicality, what do you think it means for the movement and for survivors of sexual assault who maybe were empowered to come forward prior, but now are wondering what for?
Absolutely. And thank you for asking that question, because that's now where this crucial topic is. It needs to get off Cosby and get on to the real seriousness of sexual assault crimes and drug facility. It's DFSA, drug facilitated sexual assault. These crimes are so underreported anyway. There's a stigma anyway. And actually, Bill Cosby was in the court system, that is, before the Me Too movement kicked off. He was simply the first convicted under it, because by that time the movement was gone. But Andrea Constand had him in a courtroom before Me Too. So he kind of kicked off the whole thing. And now we're concerned that this has set the process back years, because women and men, by the way, there are male victims. We hear you, we see you.
Right.
You already have to go through the pain and the bravery of reporting and going through that process. And I'm here to tell you, by the way, law enforcement makes it as painless as they can. So please don't be afraid to come forward.
And that's why That's why so
Go ahead.
many victims are saying, don't let this stop you from coming forward. That's been the message that so many people have been spreading. Heidi, I got to run, but I really appreciate your time, and our thoughts are with you and your family and your 94-year-old dad. All the best to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.